Today, my group and I are going to be looking at a regional snapshot of the Oceania region presented by myself, Kelsey, Brenna, Ciara, and Cole. The Oceania region is comprised of 14 countries, and today we'll be specifically looking at Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, and Vanuatu. Looking at the Oceania geography, it has a land area of 8.5 million square kilometers and a population of over 41 million. Australia, the biggest country that is in our realm looking at today, is the smallest continent but the largest country on Earth. New Zealand is a remote island, one of the last sizable territories, and Papua New Guinea is the second largest island in the world. The Solomon Islands is a nation of hundreds of smaller islands in the South Pacific, and Vanuatu is the southern western Pacific Ocean, consisting of a chain of 13 very small islands.
We now begin to look at the demographics of the Oceania region. It's shown in the graph to the right the majority of people living in the Oceania region, or living in the countries of Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, and Vanuatu, are between the ages of 10 to 34 years of age. So the graph is skewing to the younger generation, and so this is extremely important for businesses to think about when thinking about marketing their product, and specifically finding their target market. This is extremely important when looking into the target market, because you're looking to develop effective marketing communication strategies that go along with the age groups that you're marketing towards. So you're not going to market the same product that you would to a 10 to 12-year-old that you would a 50 to 60-year-old. And this is extremely important when thinking about taking your business to different regions of the world and researching this. We now begin to look into the cultural analysis of the Oceania region. And just jumping right into it, starting off on the first bullet. Now, I'm not going to read every figure that is in this bullet, but what is important to mention is that these are the religious views of the country-by-country basis in the Oceania region. And so what this gives you a great look into is how the Western societies have influenced this part of the world very heavily, as it was once part of the imperialistic part of our world's history. But it is really important to note that brands and businesses can better understand and provide for the customer's needs in these parts of the region by understanding the cultural values and beliefs that are held within the country-to-country basis. And this goes with their religious views and their beliefs and values that they hold, and their behaviors on a day-to-day basis that are not the same in Australia that they would be in the Solomon Islands. So this is very important when understanding and how to influence communication practices and interactions that are required in a marketing strategy for a business to influence their consumers.
So the economy of the Oceania region comprises more than 14 separate countries, including Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, and Vanuatu. And on the slide, I have listed all of their GDPs by country for reference. And overall, the overall percentage of this region's GDP in context of the world's GDP is only 1.21%. And then the largest parts of Oceania's economy is made up of mainly 4 different factors. One would be manufacturing, following agriculture, tourism, and fishing. Australia is actually the largest manufacturer in the region, and this is mainly due to the fact that they produce a lot of cars, electrical equipment, machinery, and clothes. And the rest of the region, however, more specifically the islands, are not as well developed, which is also the reason why 89% of Oceania's urban areas are in Australia, New Zealand, and Papua New Guinea. And plantation crops are planted on the medium tropical islands like the Solomons and Vanuatu. When doing business in the Oceania region, the countries follow a few agreements. These agreements vary from the Quota Management System, Melanesian Spearhead Group, Public Island Countries Trade Agreement, South Pacific Regional Trade, Economic Cooperation Agreement, and lastly, the World Trade Organization. For business meeting etiquette in Australia, New Zealand, and Papua New Guinea, these are pretty casual greetings consisting of a smile and a handshake. Women are actually expected to extend their hand to men first when meeting in business. And then the official languages in these countries vary from English, Maori, French, Tok Pisin, Hiri, and Hirimotu. And then business attire is formal in these countries, so men would wear a conservative dark business suit, a white or collared dress, shirt, and tie, and then women are advised to dress simply but elegantly, wearing a dress or a skirt and blouse for business. And then on the islands, meetings are a little bit different here. They're a lot more informal. Individuals on the island are on what they call island time, so you should really not be in a hurry or be prepared to be anywhere because they're not very punctual. And then the official language on the Solomons is English, and Vanuatu has three official languages, Bisalama being the most common, followed by English, and lastly French. And business attire here is informal, and then I attached pictures on the slide that referenced how the two separate parts of the region dress.
Looking at the political issues within the region, over the last decade, Australia and the rest of the Oceania region has many indigenous groups. They fought to extend their political rights. There are many different tribes and cultural significance in each island's home country. New Zealand specifically and Aboriginal Australians are the main drivers of the movement. Australia and Oceania's political and financial future rests heavily and largely on its efforts to maximize the effects of climate change, so they understand that it's definitely an issue in their region due to their geography, and they want to make sure that their people have the highest quality of life due to this climate change. They definitely have a different mix of economies going on between all of the islands. Some are highly developed, such as Australia and New Zealand, with a very high ranking of quality of life and human development, and a little bit less with Papua New Guinea and Vanuatu and Solomon Islands with much smaller economies.
Next, we'll be talking about the world relations in the Oceania region. So, external conflicts with other countries, Vanuatu and France's current relations are strained over the Matthew and Hunter Islands, and there's a picture of the islands below. They are uninhabited volcanic islands, but these countries dispute over sovereignty of the islands. And no other country in the Oceania region has any other external conflicts with any other countries except for Vanuatu and France. All of the Oceania region have diplomatic relations with the United States. Vanuatu has established these relations in 1986, Australia in 1940, New Zealand in 1942, Papua New Guinea in 1975, and the Solomon Islands in 1978. And in a business perspective, this is great for the United States or anyone going to visit these islands, knowing that we've had close relations and close business relations with these countries for a long time.